thought we'd have some fun with this lady from Florence. Now, I took this photograph about 20 years ago, and it just has an appeal, walking her dog with those lovely black high-heeled boots. And we can have a little bit of fun with this. The light's not brilliant, but we can make it work. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is get some raw sienna, and I'm just going to put a little bit of background in, just to fill up that space. So, no, this could be the buildings there. We've left the people out, there's no need to put those in. And maybe a little bit of rich sepia. And a bit of blue. Cobalt blue is always good as we come down. That would show up the dog quite nicely. Just join that up. So a very loose background. You could almost do this with your eyes closed. Lovely black boots, and we can add some more later if we need to, but I'm thinking that will be enough because we're going to make her really striking. Using a size 16 brush, I'm just going to do a little bit of the hair. Now it's quite dark and a little bit, I think, on the gingery side, so I'm going to go for a burnt sienna. Just pop that in. Lovely and long, just look at that. And there's a little bit of dark in there too, so let's go straight into some thick, rich sepia. Now this is the loose bits, we will be tightening up some later. This is the softer sort of marks. And it looks a bit strange at the moment, but that will come together later. And I'm going to give her a red jacket, because I think red would be rather nice. And we're going to go for a alizarin crimson. Quite dark there, lovely shade. And that's a little bit darker in there too, just there, but then lighter there and there. So all I'm going to do is just take off some of that pigment, so we've got a little bit more water. Just pull that out. The lights and darks aren't that obvious on here, so we're just having to make the most of what we've got. Let's see on the other side. Now there's only a tiny bit of skin showing, and I'm just going to use a light red for that, just for her hand. Oh, there's a hand there. So we're putting in all the sort of wishy-washy bits to start with, and then it comes together at the end, as always. That skirt, just wondering what colour. Let's go for a, I think, a raw sienna. Now if that runs, wow, yeah, that's doing exactly what I want it to do. And then that's darker this side, so what I can do is just add a little bit of that red into it. Because that colour would be reflecting down there, and that just makes it lovely and vibrant. I'm just wondering what colour handbag to give her. I think we'll put that in a minute. We can't have red because there's too much red going on. Maybe we'll put the same colour as the boots. We'll darken it quite a lot. So let's mix up some sepia, rich sepia, and some Prussian blue. Nice and thick because those boots are really gorgeous and dark. I think 20 years ago I could have worn boots that high. I'd just fall over now. Oh, with the tip of your brush. See how lovely and dark that is? That's just the Prussian blue and the sepia. Beautiful, elegant boots. And here, that works really well because that's actually showing up the dog shape. She's got her foot lifted up, she's sort of moving a little bit. And that bit is in shadow, so let's go for that dark colour there. Quite dark underneath. And then the light's hitting it there, so just take off some of the pigment. That's lighter. And no, just a few marks and she's starting to look really stunning. So we need to get that really dry and then we can put some dry brush marks in here and there. I'm going to use my size 10 brush. We'll start at the top and work our way down. So I'm going to use some rich sepia. I'm just using the tip of the brush. Just look at the wispy hair. Super. Now into that I'm going to mix some alizarin crimson. So we've left that on our brush and just sort of squint a little bit. It's a very dark area there. It's dark. Lovely crinkles on the fabric, we always love those. And then onto her skirt. I think it's still going to be that sort of reddish shadow, but I'm adding a bit more rich sepia into that. So slightly more on the brown side. Lovely shadow underneath there. And all of a sudden she's just come alive. She's three-dimensional. I'm going in with some Prussian blue now and more sepia just to finish off that handbag. And a tiny bit of sepia on its own. she's bending her fingers. Soften that a little bit. Soften it out. Now for this dog. He's just blobs of light and dark shapes, so don't think about it too much and you can't go wrong. So raw sienna, where the light's hitting him. Just on top there. And I think we're going for that burnt sienna for the darker shapes there on the back. Just filling in what I can see. So we're not doing the darker tones at the moment. And a little bit of sepia now, just for those darker areas. Soften that into it. Oh, that still looks strange, but that will come together. And let's do a little bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of raw sienna, just for those feet. Right, that's almost dry. So let's go for our size 10 brush. You don't have to change, you can carry on with the size 16. Thickish sepia. And we've got a bit of ear there. It's quite dark there. Lovely swishing tail, that's much, much darker there. Right, before I do his eyes, I do want that to be absolutely dry, because these bits I'm happy for them to run. Those need to be a little bit more definite. On a size 10 brush, some rich sepia. And just pop those little dots for eyes in, make sure they're in the right place. A gorgeous little nose. And cheeky little smile. And I think we'll carry on with that colour for the lead. Just crisscross that over, just thin line. She needs a shadow to anchor her down, and again there's not much of one on the pavement, so I'm going to use just a watered down Prussian blue and sepia, because I don't want to introduce too many different colours to this, and we'll just do a delicate little shadow. And that just sits her down quite nicely. Now I'm thinking I need a little bit more blue here, so make sure your brush is really clean, and some cobalt blue, and I think it wouldn't hurt to bring that in just there, and then fade some of it out a little bit. That's good, that just balances a little bit. It seems sort of like there were two separate bits. and now that's brought it together. So yeah, I'm really happy to have revisited this Italian lady. I wonder what she's doing now. So thank you for watching.